Hi, I'm Eileen Roach, founder of Designs and Machine Embroidery, and I am so glad you joined me here today for Shimmer and Shine. We are going to talk all about metallic thread, Kingstar metallic thread, which is really the world's best running metallic thread. We're going to talk about, stitch types and how it looks best. We'll talk about if you have any limits to stabilizer or needles, that kind of thing. But if you have had any experience stitching with Kingstar, you'll know that there are no limitations with Kingstar. There's no special techniques that you have to worry about or think that you have to master before you can use Kingstar. It is friendly for all machines and for all embroidery levels. We have some beautiful samples. Right behind me, I have this really fun pumpkin with this embroidered ribbon. This is a kind of a faux velvet ribbon. Trick or treat or hocus pocus on the other side. How much fun is that, right? Great way to decorate. Great way to add personalization to any kind of decoration any time of year with our Kingstar Metallic. But right now, we do have a special. We have a new color that's just been released in the Kingstar, and we have a quartet of the Kingstar for fall colors for you to enjoy. So let's take a look. Well, we actually have two quartets, but mainly we're going to focus on the metallic. Our other is the exquisite fall metallic quartet, which is a great buy right now, and that beautiful color selection, so fall, goes with so many different applications for fall, and we have a sample of that too. So if you're new here today, we'd love for you to sign in. Tell us where you're watching from. I see we have people from Washington, Tennessee, Ohio. We have Diana Mullins Atkinson, and she says it is the only metallic that she uses. It is truly the best. I agree. Laurie Albrecht, same comment. Oh, and here we have Sharon over in St. Simons, Georgia. St. Simons Island. How lovely. Just lovely. And Sandra Lee, you love Kingstar too in Cincinnati. Isn't it awesome? I am just always so impressed with the results that I get with Kingstar. And not just the results, but the experience of stitching with it. It's so dependable. I know that I can just put it on my machine, whether I'm using a multi-needle machine or if I'm using a flat bed, single needle domestic machine. It doesn't matter. They all love Kingstar. So let's head over to the overhead so you can see some samples. But before we do, we want to see it in action because I taped a video so that you could see this hocus pocus trick or treat ribbon being stitched out. And I took the video of the entire process. It was pretty long, 23 minutes. So we're going to share that. And it'll be running in the background when I eventually move over to the overhead. Oh, I think actually, I'm mistaken. My director told me that I can't talk and show the overhead cam and the video at the same time. So we're going to have some limitations there. But you'll be able to see this whole thing. Okay, so let's go to the overhead cam. And first we're going to start with Give Thanks, which is this beautiful linen ribbon. And this is our new color, our beautiful deep orange, dark orange. This is our MA24. This luscious dark orange is just gorgeous, just gorgeous. And I stitched this on sticky stabilizer with the ribbon and this beautiful linen ribbon. Not a problem, not a single problem. Beautiful satin stitches on that lettering. But let's take a look at some other applications that we can use for our metallics. So here are some small items. Our earrings, now Kingstar not only on the top, but also in the bobbin. Completely dependable, not a flaw in any of these embroidery designs with the Kingstar in the needle and the bobbin. Can you believe that? I mean, that's really amazing. Let's look at this little fun patch we have for the groom. And not only in the beautiful satin stitches of that large text, but also that micro text where it says the date 9/18/2021. That's tiny little lettering. And boy, does that look elegant. Of course, on a patch, metallics are very popular on patches. Military patches for sure often have metallic thread. So if you have a need to do any type of those patches, go to your Kingstar. That's going to be the dependable metallic for you. Okay. Well, I showed you the earrings, but how about, just lace by itself, used as a border? Now, I want you to take a good look at those beautiful satins and then also that lacy grid. Now, in this instance, I did not use the purple Kingstar in the bobbin. As you'll see, I used a traditional white embroiderer's bobbin thread in the bobbin. Still had terrific results, absolutely beautiful. And then using that purple Kingstar for the quilting in the body of the bag, the contrast between that purple, shiny purple, and the flat matte black of the fabric really, lets that quilting pop. Just beautiful. I love that. Had great success with that. I was really happy with it. Here are some really fun designs from our friends over at Embroidery Library. So let's take a look at, first we have that cat, and the cat is made up of chain stitches. So all these wider stitches that you see here, they're actually chain stitches. They're not satins. Satins occur over here on the outline of the bat and these kind of jewel-shaped elements of his wings. So notice how beautiful that Kingstar reflects on a satin. I think I'll just give this a little wiggle so you can kind of see the metallic feature of that Kingstar. You can really see it when there's movement on an item and when you have some width to the design. Like for instance, this is our gold metallic Kingstar for the quilting, which is beautiful, but it's kind of subtle, right? So a running stitch is going to be rather subtle. If you really want to make some impact, that's when you'll choose satin stitches or continuous chain stitches as in this fashion. Now, if you really want to go with that run stitch look, this is another technique that works when you have multiple lines of run stitches. And you also have what I call thread build-up, where all those lines of stitching meet at the point of this ribbon. And that gives you a more dense, area of the metallic. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And if you are a digitizer, you most certainly can use those techniques yourself to get more accent, even when you're just doing running stitches. Really very pretty. Now, wait till you see what Deborah Jones stitched for me. She found this over at Urban Threads, I think. Look at that owl. Is he magnificent? Oh, he is just phenomenal. So she's using all 4 colors of the fall quartet, which is the gold, purple, copper, and the new dark orange, which is just luscious. Of course, I can tell you what you're seeing over the camera is not even comparable to what I'm seeing in person. It always looks so much better in person. But she took the liberty of recoloring this embroidery design so that she could really get, interesting color and accent. Normally on a design like this, you would outline it in a dark black, but she used silver. So silver is the only color in this beautiful sample that's not included in the quartet. But, it needed a little bit of silver. So, we don't always just stick to 4 colors, but really great to have that array of colors. And look at that stitching on the moon. Let's get a good look at that moon. So here we have, you know, some satin stitches that they're not even satins, they're just runs that would come out in fanning around that moon. And then we have some complex spills, not very heavy, but some that overlap to give a little bit of shape. What you see here is the bleed through of the black felt. And actually what you see in the body of the owl and the pumpkins is just the black felt. It's not applique or anything like that. Isn't that stunning? She did a beautiful job on that. So Judy Warren, what is this background fabric? This background fabric is just black felt. That's all that is, nothing fancy. And, you know, we often do that for samples here at Dime because, you know, we stitch a lot of samples. This beautiful pumpkin I found over at Embroidery Library. And I did also add silver because in their color recommendations, they asked that these like flowers and scrolls are done in white, but I chose silver. So I used the gold for the actual pumpkin, the copper for the scroll work here, and then the dark orange for that accent, which really does pop off the black, as you can see here. Oh, and Sue Brown says she loves the orange. I know, isn't the orange really cool? Isn't it beautiful? I know it's not doing any justice in this camera, I can tell you, but it is, when it's in your hand, you're gonna love it for sure. Okay, so here's a really good sample of all 4 of the colors. And I'll put this down and put the matching spool with it so that you can get a good look at exactly what colors are included. And then I used a Kay Fawcett, really bright colored, busy print, like most of his prints, to just do the binding to kind of tie it all together. But let's take a notice of these designs. So these are running stitch designs. They are multiple runs. So the needle travels across this leaf 3 or 4 times. Some of the veins are only twice, but there is quite a bit of fabric buildup. Again, like in these outer leaves out here where the needle comes to those areas several times to add additional accents. And you can really see that here on the pumpkins. So the shading that's created, it's just created by run stitches. That's all that is, in, you know, kind of a curvature pattern at the bottom of the pumpkin and then also at the top. And then this heavy running stitch here is multiple passes of the needle, goes back and forth, you know, several times. And then again, we have that same buildup in the center of the leaves here and here. Oh, it's just beautiful. I admire the digitizers over at Embroidery Library and Urban Thread. They are true artists, and they most certainly keep all of their, you know, they bring all of their talents to the task. This is definitely digitized by an artist who really knows how to get the best out of the artwork, for sure. Very impressive. Okay, so what do we have next? So then I stitched, well, why don't we take a look and see how we're doing on the ribbon? So we head back to that. There we go. Coming along pretty good, right? So the purple has already been stitched, and it's the orange that is going through now. And you can see on my machine, it's set at 1,000 stitches per minute. And, you know, just so you know, a machine will stitch at that programmed speed, like 1,000 stitches, when it's appropriate for the machine to stitch at that speed. And I'm going to show you in a second with another sample that I created. I also set the machine at 1,000 stitches per minute, but I really listened to the machine to see, you know, was it motoring along at 1,000 stitches a minute for all of the elements of that design or just portions of it? So I'll bring that back in a second. And Brenda, you say that watching the machine is so awesome, isn't it? It's mesmerizing, right? We all love to watch the machine. I know. It's like when you go to a quilt show or, you know, a sewing show, and you walk by a sewing machine retail booth, and they're selling machines, and of course they're running, right? And you and I, even though we have these machines at home, we often stop and stare at what it's stitching, right? We just can't help it. We just can't help it. And Debbie Jansen, you want to know, how do we order? Well, of course, we have a special Here, and we can bring that up right now. So these 4 colors are only $55.96 right now with free shipping. They are all in stock, which is a true blessing, right, at this time of COVID, because I know things are opening up and so forth, but product is not always getting where it needs to be. But we do have quite a bit of these have just arrived, and they're all shrink wrapped and packaged and ready for you to receive in your home. So I think you're going to really love these 4. Super excited about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this other sample that I have. So these designs I stitched out on my own. So let me remove that comment. Just one second. There we go. And yeah, so let's see. Tessa Noel, you like the idea on a quilt, a crazy quilt, special stitches. I agree. I agree. It is an extra touch to special stitches. So this little design that I digitized so that I could show you the metallics, I really wanted to give you a good understanding of what it will look like as a skinny satin. So this is really a steel, right? It has no curves. It's just the same width of the satin stitches, the whole length of the design. And that's a 2.5. And this is a bit wider, 4.0. And then this is quite wide at 7.0. And notice the numbers are also stitched in King Star. That's our gold. So it stitches the micro letters and numbers just beautifully. Now, if you really want to have some impact with metallic thread on satins, make the edges of your satins undulating so that it's not the same width. So here we have skinny, right? We go to like 2.0 here, and then all the way up to 7.0. And of course, the needle up and down, wider, skinnier. Isn't that beautiful? That's what really catches the eye. If someone's wearing a garment, and, you know, as they move, it's those edges, those curved edges that really catch the eye. Now, when I was stitching at my 1,000 speeds, these satin stitches, they were flying by at 1,000 stitches a minute. When it comes to the complex fill, not so much. When it comes to an embossed fill, the machine slows down quite a bit. And you don't have any control over that. I mean, my machine speed was 1,000 stitches per minute, but it is programmed to slow down so that it can, you know, make all of these different designs, all these different patterns where we have, you know, kind of like little circles with flat areas in between. Really fun, fun, fun. I had a good time doing that. Isn't that neat? Okay, so let's see. And then I thought I would just show you some run stitches. And so this is, you know, obviously single run, right? Kind of boring, really kind of boring. But, you know, here is a shape contour where we have I selected a circle and made sure the distance between those run stitches was fairly narrow, so that, you know, you could see the black fabric through it and really let that thread be the star of that design. But down here, I allowed that to have some of that thread buildup. And it's that accent that I think really draws the eye into the design. It's what makes it look so cool. To me, that looks like a clamshell, you know, in this fashion, right? If you had a scallop shell opening and closing, always has those ridges on it. I grew up on the beach, so everything has a seashore comparison in my heart, right? Let's see. Looks like echoes on the bottom. It does look like echoes on the bottom, for sure. And let's see. Sue Brown says she never really changes the speed on her machines, the 10 needle or the XP2. I don't either. I mean, I just set them at 1,000 and, you know, just never change that, because who has time, right? We want it to be fast, fast, fast. You know, it's funny you say that, Sue, because I spent some time learning how to do free motion quilting, and because I enjoy that process, right? So I don't mind moving the fabric and stippling and so forth. And I got pretty good at feathers. And so, you know, after like 3 hours, right, I had this like placemat that literally was like 18 by 12 inches wide that took that long. And I'm like, gee, I think if I had digitized that and put it on my embroidery machine, it would have been an 8-minute project. So yeah, I don't really do the free motion quilting anymore. I just learned how to get that same effect with an embroidery machine. And of course, with those metallics, right? Okay, so let's take a look at our exquisite fall colors. So this is the exquisite fall pack. Now, that's our brand of thread, right? It's a 40 weight polyester. It is a very high quality thread at a very reasonable price. And it also, it's not a metallic, but it has a beautiful sheen. It really does. So let's go ahead and take a look at a sample that I made with that. And these fall colors are just luscious. They're just right for this time of year. And this was a very pretty design from same location, Embroidery Library. And I added this grid around it to kind of, a little mug rug, right? Just to have some quilted area around it. But here we have this cinnamon color. And this is hedge, this beautiful green, and this cranberry. And then our brown, I think, is nutmeg. Aren't they? What a lovely combination. And I chose kind of a soft melon color as the background. You most certainly could use these colors on beige fabric or, something kind of subtle. But I just thought that melon gave a nice little accent. It was really give it a little bit more life. And again, just a binding from, a fabric that has all those colors in it. Just a nice way to finish that up. Now, you may be wondering, what's the secret to Kingstar? Well, there's a couple. And one of them is in how it is wound on the spool. So, and then we'll just give the camera a minute to focus. When you bring in a dark object onto this white surface, it kind of freaks out. So this is our gold, one of our gold colors. We have 3. But notice I am just about at the end of this spool, right? That gold doesn't last very long in my embroidery studio. So I'm saving, I'm going to get every last bit out of it. But if you know anything about metallics, and if you've had spools of metallics, often when you get down close to the core, you get a lot of kinks and so forth. But I just thought I would just pull this off so you could see how it just puddles. And it just comes off in a gentle circle. There's no kinks. There's no hard turns or corners, and that's what normally happens with the metallic. It kinks. It's because it's metal, right? So we don't have that in Kingstar. It literally just pulls off into a lovely puddle, and then you don't have to worry about it kinking on your embroidery machine. So I'm just going to wind this back up. Now, because it's a metallic and it's a very fine thread, there are no notches on the spool itself. And, we get spoiled with that, right? Like on our exquisite thread, we have a quick snap bottom. And so that's where we store the tail of our thread. And we just place it in there and then snap that back in place. We don't have that on Kingstar because we don't want any extra ridges or, anything on the bottom of this. But to store it, it's pretty easy. You're just going to pull off a little bit. Oh, I guess that's about 2 feet. And then hold it in your hand and then twist it over 2 or 3 times. And then put it around, I missed it. Put it around the spool and then just pull. And then, I'll trim this off. And then, I don't want to pull it too tight because I want to be able to find that opening and take my scissors and, open that back up. So when it's time to thread my needle again, I know, where the end is. I hate it when you do it too tight and then, you snip into the spool. So that's how we store Kingstar, and just love it. Just absolutely love it. Is it necessary to keep these spools upright when stitching? Becky Munns wants to know. Absolutely not. I put it, on my single needle machines, I put it on the horizontal pin. And I do not use a thread cap, okay, or a spool end cap, whatever you want to call that. I don't use that. I leave that off. and that thread just wiggles right off. Now, if you have a problem, and this has happened to me on maybe 1 out of 40 Kingstar spools, and believe me, we go through that many here on a single needle machine, then I will use a thread stand behind the machine. But truth be told, it's very, very rare. Now, on my multi-needle machine, I'll give you a tip. So on your multi-needle machine, you come from the spool up to the top thread guide and down through another thread guide, and then you wind the thread around the tension disc, and then you're supposed to come down to the needle, right? Well, I wind it around twice. I don't adjust that tension. I just wind it around twice, same direction, go to the needle, never have a problem. Never have a problem. Yeah. So let's see, Nancy Ingleton, Kingstar, you don't need to fool around with the spools, no special techniques. You run it full speed on your multi-needle and never had problems. Yeah, I know. I never have a problem either. It's fabulous. It is so fabulous. I love it. You know, I mean, I think for many, many years, many of us were very cautious, really nervous about selecting a metallic thread and using it. You didn't want to get through a design and continuous thread breaks where you just have to, you know, keep stopping and starting and blah. That's just horrible. Yeah. So if you like Kingstar, give us a like. If you have any friends who want to know about metallic thread, most certainly share this video with them. A lot of people don't know about Kingstar. Many dealers across the US carry Kingstar, and we most always encourage you to purchase from your sewing machine retailer. But if you don't have that, and you know, if your local dealer doesn't have it, well, first off, tell them to call us, but we're happy to ship it to you also. And let's see, Sue Brown has tested Kingstar on everything. And let's see, Tessa wants to know, is it washable? Absolutely. Right through the wash, no problem. I press it with an iron, you know, I've put it through the dryer, and maybe you're not supposed to, who knows, but I do it. So it's a Japanese thread, and it is made for the kimono industry. And you know, the finest embroidery is done with almost, you know, the lightest thread possible. And to get that in a metallic is really unsurpassed. Let's see. And Marianne Dottie wants to know, did you use a font from Pep? Yes. This is, I believe this is Tiffany. I think that's Tiffany, but let's check while we're here. So let's see if we can make that happen. So Samuel, just let me check this real quick without putting my screen up, and I can tell you exactly what that is. Oh, no, you know what that is? I should have looked that up. Should always look it up. It is Studio. It is Studio in Pep. That's the font that the Hocus Pocus is. So let's get a good look at that. How beautiful. So it's a 2-color font, and oh, well, we don't want to go that way. Let's go this way. Everything's backwards. Isn't that gorgeous though? It's just beautiful. So 2 colors. So it's going to stitch all that purple first, then the orange. And, you know, the beauty about doing, you know, your own lettering like this in software like Pep, when I put this on the machine, it's going to do all the orange of Trick or Treat. And then it's going to come back and do all the purple. It's not going to, you know, try to do it for every letter. Blah, that'd be a nightmare. So when you have software, boy, you control everything. It's awesome. It is really awesome. And let's see, does Pep Run Native on a Mac? Pep does work on a Mac. We have a program that we call the Translator that you download from our website and install that onto your Mac, and then all of our embroidery software works on your Mac. So I'm not sure if that answers the term native, to be honest with you, but anyway. Oh, and Retha, last week you were stitching on organza, and you say today that it sews perfectly on organza. Yeah, for sure. Yes. And let's see, Aubrey wants to know, can you buy a single spool? Right now, we just have the quartet available on dzgns.com. Let's see. Oh, and Stephanie Hardy, you just got your first metallic in the mail. Good for you. Good for you. Let's see. Any other questions? Great tip on the ends. Yep. You've never used metallic thread because you've heard that it kinks, so this is good to know. Yeah, most metallic threads do kink, and they can really be very frustrating to experience, but not so much here. So do I have anything else I need to show? I don't think so. So isn't that fun, though? I hope that you play with your King Star and really explore, have a good time with it, and take advantage of that special price. Oh, Brenda, you want to know what is PEP? Well, PEP is Designs software, and it is Perfect Embroidery Pro digitizing program. We have several different software programs at Dime, but PEP is what we call the mothership, and that has every feature you could need for any kind of embroidery. And I use PEP all day long, every day. And Barbara Jones says, you use PEP on a Mac and you just upgraded your Windows to Windows 11 and it worked. Yes, we are already compatible with Windows 11, which is an awesome thing. So, and let's see, what size needle do you use with this thread? Karen, you can use whatever size needle you need to use for the fabric. You don't need any special kind of needle. So if you're stitching on a silk or a t-shirt, knit, whatever it is, you select the needle for your fabric, and then our King Star will work in it. You don't have to use a metallic needle at all. So nothing with a fancy eye, nothing like that. And let's see, you tried, Sherry Hernandez, you like to have at least one metallic in every design, usually more fun. That's super fun. Yeah. That's really cool. Nancy Angleton, you use 75 needles for everything. Well, that's a good rule of thumb, but they wouldn't, it's good to have options because we often embroider on all types of fabrics, from a very lightweight organza, like Retha was talking about, to a heavy denim. So, and stretch and stable fabric. So, needles are really dependent on the type of fabric that you are stitching on, not so much the embroidery design. So, shall we take a look at some small town charms? Some of you are probably new here today, and maybe you don't know about the Small Town Charms. So Small Town Charms are a free giveaway here at Dime every month. And we started in January 2021 with the Quilt Shop. And that design is still available for free on our website. And there's the link right below the screen here where you can still get it. And I encourage you, if you want to participate, you want to get these designs, do it before the end of the year, because after, when we get into 2022, these will go away. So we have January was the Quilt Shop, February was the Sweet Shop, March, a dress shop, April, a florist, and then in May, we stepped outside to the outdoor cafe, and in June, the town hall. July was the ice cream store, which is Scoops, home of the giant ice cream cone. August is a gazebo from the town park. And September was a bookstore. And October was a haunted house, which every town has, right? So let's see. And then if you are participating and you stitch out these designs, we encourage you to post an image of your design on social media with the hashtag #DimeSewAlong. And this week we found an adorable creation of the dress shop from February, right? February and March, maybe. Isn't that adorable? I'm not going to try to say that name, Miroslava, but look at her sidewalk. What an interesting sidewalk. It almost looks like a snake pattern fabric, but used in this instance, it really looks like cobblestones. Very, very well done. And her colors are just adorable. So in this design, she added the shrubbery on the left and a lamppost on the right, and also that potted plant from the right-hand side. And that is probably, both of those items, I think, are from other small town charms throughout the year. So we really encourage people to use portions of designs and add them to the small town charms to make them their own. And they've really had quite a bit of fun with it. Really beautiful job. Very, very nice. So yeah, like Diana Mullins Atkinson, she loves the handbags. I like the handbags too. I had a lot of fun digitizing them. They stitch really fast and they're just adorable, right? How many colors of King Star? Well, right now we are featuring our fall quartet, and that is the dark orange, the purple, gold, and the copper. All in all, there are 17 colors of King Star. So your local dealer who carries King Star would have all 17 colors. We don't currently carry all 17 colors on our website, but I'm sure your local dealer will have them for you. Next week, we're going to have a whole lot of fun. We're going to, well, it's, the week before Halloween, it's just a couple days before Halloween. We're going to have the small town charm reveal of November, and it is something that many of you have been asking for. So it's almost ready, not quite, but almost ready. And I'll reveal that next week. And Deborah Jones is going to be here with me, and we're going to talk. Now I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when we have to get really technical, Deborah Jones comes on. She comes into Facebook with me because, boy, she's our technical wizard for sure. And next week, we're talking about a topic that might not sound real sexy, but in reality, it really is. And that's bobbins. We're going to introduce you to some different bobbins, some that are magnetic and some that aren't. And we have a really great purchase on them, so there'll be a special for that. But Deborah, she has a vast experience in both the commercial industry and the home side. So bring your questions about bobbins, and we're going to have a blast next week. I hope to see you here at 1:00 next week. And in the meantime, Ivy Doherty, no, we're not going to do bobbin work. This is just down and dirty bobbins, the kind that you use to get all these beautiful designs stitched. We're not going to be talking bobbin work. Let's see. And Sharon Berman, you say the King Star metallic are the best. You've never had a problem with breakage. I'm so glad to hear all of you really have had a great experience with King Star. I have too. And, it just gives me such great confidence to tell anybody to use King Star, because I've tried it on multiple machines and I know it's going to stitch beautifully. Yeah. Oh, Crystal Campbell. Okay, one more thing. I thought you could only use a specific bobbin for your machine. You can use a specific bobbin size for your machine, but what goes on the bobbin can be unique. So we're going to talk all about that next week. So we'll see you next week, 1:00 on the 28th of October. Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining me today, and have a great week.